All right, everyone. I have Angela here with me. Thank you so much for being here and welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. Can't wait to get into it today.
Yes, as am I. You have quite an impressive background, but I would first love to hear what are you most excited about that's coming up in your life? It can be anything.
I am most excited about a new book that I'm working on. It's a children's book,
Oh my gosh.
and the book is about this little girl who plays basketball. She's taller than everyone. She feels very uncomfortable, and she goes to a basketball camp that changes her life. That's the
Oh,
teaser.
I love that. That like speaks to my soul because I also played basketball as a kid. So that's amazing. That's so cool. I love that.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel like there's never been a better time to highlight the stories of young women and women's sports and women who play. And so I feel like this story
Mm,
was super, super timely. And I think
yeah.
it'll help a lot of kids feel comfortable. I'm really tall. I'm 6'1", and I've been this tall since I was 12 years
Uh-huh.
old. And so the book is about this little tall girl who like is trying to find her place, and
Oh, that's
everyone,
awesome.
even if they're not tall, they have something they're trying to
Right.
find a place to fit in around. So
Oh, I
I think
love
it's going to
that.
be good.
I love that. So, like I said, you have a very impressive background. You've written multiple books, a former professional basketball player. I would love to kind of just like deep dive into, how you got to where you are today and maybe tell us like a little bit about being an author and just like a little bit more about your background.
Sure. As I mentioned, I am really tall and play basketball, but I didn't want to play basketball. Basketball found me. I was coming out of Blockbuster Video one day. For those who are much younger than me, it was this video store that you would literally have to go to pay and rent them, take them home, and bring them back.
The best.
So I was walking out of there one day, and a coach saw me and asked me to come and play on his team, if I could come and play. And my mom said yes. She took me to practice. And Janae, these girls could hoop. They were going like between the legs, behind the back. They were competitive. And I didn't know that girls could be that competitive. I'd only seen like Michael Jordan on TV and men's professionals. I hadn't seen girls be this competitive. And that opened up literally a whole new world, because what I also didn't know, Janae, is that it was a traveling team. So my family only went to Memphis, Tennessee and Mount Bayou, Mississippi. That's it, nowhere else. And when I started playing ball, we started going to all of these other places. And that became really the foundation, one, of my love for travel, two, my love for basketball, and three, knowing that basketball can open so many doors and I can meet people from different cultures all over the world. That's that's the core of who I am.
Oh, I love that. So you played for like when did you start playing basketball? How old were you?
I was 12 years old.
You were
And these days,
12.
which is late, a lot of kids these days start a lot earlier. Yep, I was
Yeah.
12, but I was tall, so
Wow.
people expected me to be very good, and I wasn't. Tall and good are not one in the same by any means.
Yes. Yeah. So my
Yeah,
brother, believe it or not, is actually 6'7". So he gets asked all the time, "Oh, did you play basketball? Did you play basketball?" And it's just like every single person that sees him on the street asks him. So it's kind of like it's like kind of a joke now, like, "Oh, Jameson, like you didn't play basketball and you're 6'7". Like everyone wishes you did." But it is like a funny little anecdote almost that
right.
like everyone asks him. But yeah, you're right. Like just like some larger men playing football, or like the little short dudes, they can freaking run wicked fast.
Right, right.
It just doesn't even matter. But I love that you said like it kind of opened up your world to like different cultures, different traveling experiences. I find that so cool. And the competitive part, that's super interesting because like you said, like you had never maybe seen girls be like competitive. So when you first experienced or saw that, what was like going through your head when you saw these girls be like super competitive?
I felt like I was way out of my league. I wasn't even in a league. I
Mm,
hadn't played organized, and definitely not competitively. I was playing in the backyard with my brothers, Janae, and not like
love it.
a backyard with concrete pavement. No, we played on dirt. It was dirt and bricks, and
Love.
the tree hung into our backyard from our neighbor's yard, and our hoop was on like the telephone wire. This was not a pristine backyard. So I'd only played in small places and we had to
Mm,
run, girl, like run. I'd never run that much before in my life. So
yeah.
I was intimidated, undoubtedly intimidated, but their love for the game, their desire to win was
Mm,
infectious. And my coach's belief in me, combined with my brother's willingness to help me practice, really created an environment where I felt comfortable that I could thrive, but I was not happy most days because it wasn't fun.
yeah. So how did you kind of get built up to then play professionally?
What happens is the little all the little work starts paying off. So I got in better condition, so I wasn't as tired as I was before. I learned how to shoot a right hand and a left hand layup. So once you start making buckets, you hear those nets pop. It's a bit addictive. You just want to keep hearing the nets pop, and you're willing to work to hear those nets pop after you make shots. So the turning point was receiving my first college recruiting letter after my seventh grade summer, so going into the eighth grade from the University of Memphis, NCAA Division I. And when I got that letter, it became very real for me that, oh, I could play college basketball. This is a possibility. And I went on to play at St. Louis University and then in Germany.
Oh, that's incredible. That is so cool. And then you've obviously written multiple books, and obviously you're creating one like right now that you just mentioned. Did you ever, like, if you think back to yourself as a little girl, did you ever think that you would be like an author of multiple books?
No, never,
No?
never. It was never on my radar. No, Janae, I never thought anything would happen that has happened
That's
as a little
amazing.
girl. Yeah, I'm so grateful that I can't say that when I was 5, I always knew. You know, those some people who are like, I always knew I wanted to be a race car driver.
Yes.
I always knew I wanted
Right.
to be an astronaut, whatever. Like those people, I'm fascinated by. No,
Mm-hmm.
that was not my case. The books that I've written came out of speaking. I was given a
Yeah.
speech one day when I was coaching college basketball at Southeast Missouri State University. I was given a speech to some students who were on campus for a college tour. And the night before the speech, it came to me like the framework was having a vision for your future, choosing positive voices to listen to, choosing
Mhm.
your values, choosing your response to the valley, victory being a product of your choices, and then volunteering, choosing to volunteer. So I kept giving this
Mm.
speech over the years, and that became the foundation for my first book. It was really just speaking. And then
Wow.
the second book, I had a podcast in 2016 called Athletes as Educators. And I
Love
was
it.
interviewing a bunch of women who had played college sports. And then I turned those interviews into a book because there was such
Oh,
great conversations. So the honestly, me being an author came out of a love for speaking and connecting and inspiring more so than a love for writing.
interesting. Okay, I love that. Yeah, because the conversations people have on podcasts are so unbelievably powerful. Like, I have had some of the most interesting, like, wild, informative conversations on this podcast. It's really incredible. So I love to hear that you like were so inspired by the conversations to create a book out of it. I love that so much. So it seems like what I'm hearing is like all of your experiences obviously have built you into the person you are today. But I'd love to kind of go back to maybe some earlier experiences with your coaches, with your teachers, and how that kind of shaped your view on leadership, because that's one of the topics we're going to talk about for the listeners.
One really defining moment, I was in college and I we were playing at the University of Cincinnati and I had a shot to win the game. I missed the shot and I was devastated afterwards because I missed a shot. And I really wanted to win. And one of my coaches came up to me and he said, here's what you could have done better. There were plenty of other shots that contributed to us losing, but you can't sit here and sulk. We have another game in 2 days that you have to be ready for. And so my approach to leadership and things that I've learned has come from coaches who've taught me just those life lessons. Like you have to keep going. Things aren't going to always be perfect, but there's another play, there's another game, there's another day to go and get after it. And your team still needs you. So even on your worst day, when we're feeling horribly about ourselves or we thinking we should have done better, there's still people relying on us. And that's worth getting up and keep and willing to keep going for.
Oh, I love that. Keep getting up and keep moving forward. And I love that you said like people are depending on you and like right you're probably being inspired too by like seeing all of your team members having those coaches pump you up.
Mhm.
But then like I think a lot of, or at least for me personally, my motivation is like self-empowering and like being like, okay, you know what? I can do this and I know what I have to do to get to that point. And I think a lot of people might like struggle with that at times, right? Like we all go through good days, bad days, hard
Yes.
times. And putting one step in front of the other can sometimes be so challenging, especially when you're in a situation where you're like, damn it, like I missed that shot. I'm so bummed out, and kind of getting to the next step. So, in terms of like leading yourself, because I know that that's something that you're very passionate about, like let's kind of walk through like what it actually means to lead yourself.
Leading yourself is one of the most challenging and rewarding um, positions to be in. It's incredibly rewarding because you're the only one who can take credit for the work that you've done, and you're the only one who really knows what you need to do. Like we have mentors, we have coaches, we have colleagues, friends, family, but they don't know everything. Look, I have friends who I love dearly, but they don't know everything. My mama love her dearly. She doesn't know everything.
Right.
I'm the only one that knows everything. And because I know everything, sometimes I can be harder on myself than anyone else. So the way that we can coach ourselves and lead ourselves is to step outside of ourselves and have our future self present in conversations. And so I'll give you an example. If I need to make a decision about uh, step, and even in writing this book, prime example, in writing this book, I know that by the end of the year, my future self really wants to have an impact on young people. And I know that this story is relevant. So on those days where I don't feel like putting it together, my future self is like, hey, Angie, no, we need to get this done because this book is going to change so many young kids' lives. I'll give you another example. Janae, I never wore makeup before like this year. I do this stuff every single day because my work as I'm head of operations with SpeakerHUB and we're on like we have these live calls every day and I lead a team. And it's like, okay, who do I want to I have to show up in a way for me and for them that says, although we work remote, this is very serious. And the impact that we're having actually makes a difference. So I get up and do the things that I don't necessarily want to do or that come natural for me in an effort to move toward the bigger vision that I have.
I love that you said that, doing things that maybe sometimes you don't want to do, because that can be the hardest thing, right? Like, yeah, whether that's waking up early. Like, funny enough, tomorrow I have this like little networking event that I'm super excited about, but I gotta prepare myself. Like, I gotta
Mm-hmm.
be up early, I gotta get my stuff together, I gotta put my makeup on, I gotta do all the things to do my hair. Because I wanna look presentable when I'm in
Yes.
front of all of these people. So I can completely relate to that. And I love the example you gave of like, what is your it's almost like a mindset or like an idea of like your brain being like, okay, what does my future self need and want and desire, and what is she going to be pumped about, like doing those little steps to get
Yes.
to the point of like publishing your new book, right? Like, and getting to the point of thinking like, okay, well, this is going to impact so many people, and
Yes.
like the excitement about that. So like I like that it's almost like a reframe in some
Yes.
situations of like, okay, I'm going to think about it instead of, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed, there's so many steps that I have to do to get to this point. But right, they always say like one step forward is better than, not doing anything or being
Mm-hmm.
complacent and not moving towards the
Yeah.
the goalpost. So I really like the way you put that.
Oh, thank you. Having that something to look forward to is really important. And
Yeah.
all the little steps creates this compound effect. I will
Mm.
say this. If we've all done things where we're not necessarily in alignment with our future self. I'm not perfect by any means. So trust me, there are days I don't go to the gym. Last night I went to the gym and then walked right out. Like my stuff was
Hey,
in, I was like, I don't have it.
it happens.
But then I'll go today. So
Yeah.
but I also didn't eat late last night. So you find a way to, I think it's important to say, here are the things that are most important to me and take little
Mm.
steps forward toward those.
Yes.
It's not the big things that always transform our lives. It's like all those little steps adding up,
I,
those little things. And we have to
yeah,
celebrate the little wins.
you definitely do. And I think that's such a good point of like, and like listening to your body, right? You walked in the gym and you walked right out. You're like, nope, not today. And I think that that's something that's so important and we need to like tune into more. Like I'm such a go 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 type of person, and
Mhm.
it seems like you are too. And sometimes I literally have to tell myself, Janae, I know you want to do all this stuff after work, but you are not going to. You are going to make yourself dinner and you're going to sit on the couch and read your book because you need a decompression moment. And I think allowing ourselves, like giving our own selves permission to sometimes listen to your body when you need a little rest day. I find that so like so underrated. It really
It's
is so
true.
underrated, you know?
You're absolutely on point with that. The compound effect of stress is
Mm-hmm.
really, really hard on our bodies.
Right.
And that doesn't mean that you'll never be stressed, but we need some healthy ways to deal with and handle it. And allowing yourself to decompress and building in those times to decompress are essential.
Yeah.
Absolutely
It's
essential.
it is so important. I love that you said that. Is there some like habits or like discipline that kind of helps you maybe that you've learned in your whole career and maybe some that you still practice to this day with like, staying on track and motivation?
I'll talk about it from a micro level and then a macro level.
Love it.
Um, on a micro level, I actually love walking. Walks are so beautiful. It forces you to slow down, to look at the trees and the birds. And now in most places it's spring or summer's approaching, so everything's blooming. Walking in nature, having time in nature has been really wonderful for me. So I love that. Also, stretching. I work remote and I know a lot of us, I'm 42, so I know there's a lot of us who are professionals who are sitting in front of computers and sitting. So being mindful of stretching, drinking water, and going on walks really makes a difference for our overall well-being. The other thing that I like to do is travel. Absolutely, because it gives us our brains a chance to experience something different, and it opens up parts of our mind and heart and spirit that may not have opened up before. So for 2.5 years I lived in Medellin, Colombia, and that experience, which we can deep dive in a little later about how that came about, but that experience was transformative and really forced me to slow down, but more importantly to really shift the vision that I had and what life could be.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. I think being in a new place can, and especially when you live there, you're there for a period of time, I think can be so like it really changes your perspective, I think, on so many different aspects of your life. Like I always find it super fascinating whenever I go anywhere. I'm like, wow,
Other
this
people
is
living.
yeah, it's so interesting. And like even like the locals, right? Like you kind of see how they live and like, oh, they're really fast paced, or oh, maybe they're more slower. They're like you said, like
Hmm.
focusing on like your environment, like when you're talking about your walks. I love that so much because I find that I mean, I'm from Massachusetts, so it's always like go, 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 like literally no matter what you are doing, whether you're walking in a mall or whether you're driving, it's like everyone is in a rush. And sometimes I have to like stop myself from like go, go, go and be like, okay, you need a minute, like taking a walk, doing a stretch. So important. And like
Yes.
realistically, take a little time for yourself in the middle of the day. Like it seems like that's something that you do very often, which I think is so great and it's important, especially like you said, when you work from home and you're inside all day, you're staring at a computer. It can be really hard to take that moment, but I think giving yourself permission to take a break and go outside can just feel so good. So I really love that.
It can, yeah. Just slowing down is such
Yeah,
a life hack.
it
It is.
is.
It is such a life hack. Getting some rest is a life hack. There are seasons when we have to sprint. There are seasons when we have to just go and burn the midnight oil. And there's a lot of good that can come from that. But then there are also seasons where we need rest because goes life goes in cycles for sure. So you have these ups and downs, but it's important to know where you are and what your vision is, and make sure that your values and your actions are aligning with that.
Yes, I love that. Just being aligned is so important. And it kind of like it's actually a great segue into like the framework of self-leadership. Let's kind of break that down
Sure.
a little bit. Yeah.
Sure, let's go. Let's go deep on this one. So the first part of self-leadership to me is that vision. It is choosing what you want. And I mean in every part of your life. When I was younger, I thought vision was all about career success. But no, it's like, what kind of daughter do I want to be? Okay, what kind of auntie do I want to be? What kind of sister? What kind of friend? Like thinking about, because all these relationships matter and are important to us. So who's the vision of me that I want to show up in this world, and then what goals do I have? And from there, we want to think about the voices that we're listening to and the things that we're saying to ourselves, which is ultimately the one that drives everything for us. It's the stories we tell ourselves, the stories that we allow to shape our belief system really impact us. And so you lead yourself with vision. You lead yourself by being a positive and affirming voice. We lead ourselves by deciding what we value. I'll give you an example, Janae. There's some people who say, some young people who say, "Oh, I want to play college sports, and I want to get a scholarship, but they don't like to work out." It's like, well, if you don't value the thing that's going to get you there, then it's literally not going to happen. So your values have to align with what it is you say you want. And that's the first part of self leadership: the voice, the vision, and the values. That is like critical. The other side, if you want to dive into it, is, well, everything isn't going to go well. So you're going to get in a valley. You're going to have some difficult moments. And how do you get out of that? Maybe you change your environment. Maybe you just need to work harder. Maybe you need to give yourself grace, but you cannot stop and stay in a valley. You think about that vision again, and then you do the little things, little by little, to get out of that valley. When you reach that point of victory, it's going to be important to celebrate those wins and be sure to volunteer. So leading yourself is also a function of knowing the impact that you have on others, regardless if you're leading in a business, you're leading at work, you're leading yourself. So the impact that you have on other people, they're going to feel it, regardless of title. But in your home, in your community, in your church, wherever it is, people are going to feel that. And so thinking about yourself as someone who has something valuable to offer and to give, and volunteering is key. So that's the self leadership framework.
Ooh, that is so good. I just wrote so many notes. I love it. Having a vision, like that is, I love that you gave that example of like the athlete that doesn't enjoy working out. Because then it's like you almost have to break it down and be like, is there something in whatever sport you want to play that you maybe could utilize in some other part of your life?
Mhm.
But if you don't enjoy working out, that's a huge part of being an athlete. So I find that really interesting and really probably asking yourself the deep questions. Okay, like what intrigues me about being a college athlete?
Mhm.
What is intriguing me about wanting to do that every day? Maybe it's something else. Maybe you really enjoy leading, or maybe you're interested in mentoring. Like I find that so interesting, or and the values that correspond with what you want. Really dig deep into those, because then I think you can figure out like, okay, I really like helping people and I really
Mhm.
like working as a team. Maybe that's an aspect that you could take into another part of your life if you don't enjoy the working out part, because obviously, like we said, that's a big part of it. I really like that.
Janae, you brought up something that I think that I wanted to come back to.
Yeah.
You said you have to ask yourself the deep questions.
Mm,
The whole personal leadership is about being honest with yourself. And like I said before, you're
yes.
the only one who knows you the way that you know you. You
So
are the
true.
only one. And so you're the only one who can be completely honest. Other people can help you see the blind spots. Now, I've had I've had plenty of people tell me, "Oh, you know that you keep changing your mind. Like make a decision." And I was like,
Mm,
"Oh my God, I've been inconsistent in these areas. Okay, then I can work on it."
right.
So, but I could have decided to say, no, that's not true. But I was like, okay, let me look at my track record. Yeah, there's some things that I've been inconsistent with. Okay, I can get better. But you got to be honest. Without
Yes.
honesty, none of it matters.
Yeah. I love that. And I think too, like, because I'm a big journal person, I like to like write things down. I use a journal every day. And I think you can get really clear with yourself and really figuring out like what you want every single day if you're actively checking in with yourself
True.
and figuring out things that you want, right? Because I find that sometimes when if I forget a day or a couple days, I'm almost like, oh wow, like I haven't checked in with myself. So I think that
Hmm.
that goes hand in hand with being truly honest with yourself and being realistic too, right? Like, okay, if I want to do this really big goal or big project, like, I gotta do the hard work to get to that point, but being realistic and setting those expectations, I think with yourself can be a really good way to get to where you want to be?
Janae, no, you're right. You're absolutely right because we can't avoid the work.
Right.
That's we live in
Exactly.
a culture where everything comes fast. You can
It
DoorDash something,
does.
it'll be here soon. You can
Literally.
Amazon Prime it, but life does not work like that. Personal
Mm-hmm.
growth doesn't work. You can make a decision to
Right.
change your habits, but it takes time for it to cement. And
Yes.
it takes time to develop excellence. I think one of the biggest lessons that I learned from sport is that you can learn any skill, but it takes time to master a skill.
Mm,
And that only
yes.
comes from doing that same drill over and over and over and over again. If it's something
Right.
you really, really want. So
Yeah,
it's possible,
that's
but you can't avoid the work and it's not
right.
easy.
Yes. I like that. Because my mom always taught me practice makes perfect, practice makes perfect. But realistically, I love that you said earlier, I'm not perfect. I said, girl, nor am I. Nor is, I don't think anyone is. I don't
No,
like when people are like, oh, my significant other is perfect. No, they're not.
no.
Everyone is flawed, but that's okay.
Hmm.
That's what makes us unique and beautiful, I think. And I think when you do practice, like you said, like it takes time to master something, no matter what it is. Like, and I think that's the beautiful thing about when you do like get whatever project, writing a book, starting a podcast, whatever it may be, finishing a huge project at work, the excitement when it's done and like that you can like showcase and be proud of it. I think that's the confidence part of that is
Hmm.
so important because I think confidence is a big aspect in a lot of this as well?
Yes, let's talk
Yeah,
confidence.
let's do
Yes,
it.
I like how you brought the confidence into this
It's
one.
a big one. Yeah.
It is. Confidence is in sport. I have to use sport because,
Yeah.
it's like my love language.
Love it.
So in sports, as an athlete, we often associate our confidence to our performance. So I feel really good about myself if I score 20 points. If I score 5 points, I feel really bad about myself. The challenge with that is who you are as a person isn't directly connected to how you perform. Who you are as a person and your confidence in yourself as a person is about your belief systems, the core of who you are, and how you show up every day, the level of integrity. If I don't score 20 points, I can still have integrity and still feel very confident in who I am as a person. And I think in sports and sometimes in our professional lives, we associate who we are with what we do, not who we are with how we are being in the core of who we are. So my hope is someone could hear this and say, oh, wow, I don't have to perform to be confident. I'm confident because of how I show up every day, the little steps that I take, how I honor my word, and how I build towards the things that are important to me, not the things that are important to the world, but the things that are important to me. not what I do for work or what I do as a profession. It's not directly correlated to who you are as a person.
Mm. Yeah. And if someone is, I think we all have maybe lower confidence days, or maybe we're having a bad body image day, or whatever the case may be. How, if you've experienced those days, how how do you pump yourself up, or like give yourself a pep talk? Do you have any like tips for someone maybe struggling with, a bad confidence day, to lift themselves up?
Yes, yes. Look, at 42, I've had to figure a whole bunch of things out because I've run the gamut of feeling good, not feeling good, loving my body, wondering what's happening to it. So here are my tips. The first thing I would say is be preemptive. So it's going to happen. There are going to be times when you're going to lack confidence. So start with, what are the things that bring me joy? I love comedies. I love stand-up comedy, and Netflix is always queued up if I'm having a day and I need to laugh. I love to dance, particularly salsa dance. So Mark Anthony is queued up if I need to shake it off. The third thing is I keep a list of wins, and 3 wins that I'll track almost every day. It's really when I think about it. It's like, okay, this was really good. I need to make a note of that. And so I can go back to that list. And when I'm feeling like, oh, I don't know if I'm good enough, or I'm questioning my competence, I can say, no, we've done a lot of really cool stuff. Go ahead. Last piece to this confidence is, know that whatever you're going through is going to pass. You're not going to be in that valley forever. There's a way out of it. So even when it doesn't feel good, keep moving forward through whatever you're going through, because the storm doesn't last forever. It literally does not last always.
I love that. I love that you said like what brings me joy, because
Mhm.
supposedly I cannot remember where I figured this stat out. I want to say it was Emily Morse, who is a sexologist. She has like a podcast. She has like a ton of great information on her podcast. But anywho, she said 25% of your day should be filled with joy. And it could be as simple as giving your dog cuddles, right? Taking
Mhm.
a walk, like watching your favorite show, reading a book, laying down in bed and just meditating. Like it can literally be anything that brings you joy and happiness. And they say 25% of our day should be filled with it. So I love that you said that, because and I also love that you have these things that that make you feel happy, right? You're locked and loaded for the
Yeah.
comedy, the dancing, list of wins. Absolutely love that. Genius. I think everyone should do that, especially if you're going through a hard time and you're like, wow, I feel like I haven't done anything good.
Mhm.
I'm feeling really down. Like, even if it's I got out of bed today, that's a win,
For some, look,
you
I
know?
for huge. Just getting up is the win.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
It doesn't have to be anything big. I think that's a really good tip of just like keeping a list, write it in your notebook, write it in your diary, journal, whatever you want to call it, and reference that, can because that can be
Yeah,
such a mood booster. So
absolutely.
so something that I do too, like kind of when I first started my podcast, and I actually just launched a girly gift shop. So yeah, it's really fun. So
Congrats.
thank you. So like something that I do, and this can be, I mean, it sounds so silly, but like say if you're talking to your girlfriend, texting, whatever, you get a nice message on Instagram, you get a nice comment, screenshot those and put them in an album, and then you can reference them when you're feeling down about like a business, or like your book. Like you probably get amazing comments on like, oh my God, this book changed my life. I love this so much. Like put screenshot those and put them in an album, because that can also be a good reference if you're feeling down and you're like, oh my God, I just need a little bit of validation. Wow, look at all these people. They connected with me. They really like what I'm doing. That can be a really, really good tip. And I've done that for my
Oh,
podcast.
that is so good. That is so
Yeah.
good. I'm absolutely going to do that.
Yeah.
After this interview, I'm going to
Yeah.
keep a track
Just
of them. That's a
just a
great
little small
idea.
thing. Yeah. And I think too, like having that person that you can go to, like whether that be your best friend, whether that be a family member, and be like, hey, you know what? I'm feeling really down. Like, can you just be my hype woman for a minute and just
Yes,
like have that person just be ready to like tell you all the things like, girl, you're killing it. Like, all the things that can just be so helpful just to get that little insight, you know?
that is. And sometimes we need to hear from someone else because we know all the
Exactly.
things about us.
We do.
They don't know all the things, but if they knew all the things, they would still love us. Anyway,
Yes.
so
It's so
I heard
true.
someone say, I heard someone say, would you, the things that you say to yourself, would you say
Hmm.
that to your best friend? And
Yes.
oftentimes it's like, no, I would never say this to
Right.
her, ever.
Right.
So treat yourself like your best friend because you really are the only one with you every day, all day.
Love that. Yes, it's so true. Like you wouldn't say that bad comment that you just said about your body to your best friend, or you could also like think about it. Your 8-year-old self is
Yes.
standing in front of you. Would you say that to her?
Never. I would
Right.
never.
It's
Not
so
little Angie.
true.
I wouldn't say that to little Angie.
Yeah. Actually, this is a really so do you have like a daily practice that you do every day or maybe most days that helps you like boost yourself up by chance?
The for me it's dancing. Dancing
Love that.
is huge for me. So even if it's just a few minutes around my apartment, I'll do that.
Love it.
And then I love walks, like I mentioned. So walking is a key part of my life. And then the writing, like really being intentional about making notes of the wins. That's key.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. Now, if you could tell your younger self something about self-love, confidence, what would you say to your younger self?
I would say slow down,
Mm,
slow down enough to give yourself the same love and appreciation and support that you're giving everyone else because you're going to need
yes.
you. Oh, girl, you are going to need to know how to show up for yourself in the same way
Mm,
that you're showing up for other people.
yes.
I,
Oh, that's a
I,
good one.
I, my identity was very much attached to what I did for others. And it made
Mm-hmm.
me feel good to do things for other people, which is a good thing. However,
Right.
the level of disregard for myself is not. There wasn't boundaries or balance. I just
Mm-hmm.
went and did what mom and dad wanted or what my niece wanted or my brother. Like when community, there was this event and that event. And then I was a hot mess. Like I broke down big time.
Mm.
And I went to Colombia, which is a whole nother story. And total restoration of self, complete restoration of self,
Wow.
was able to see where my blind spots were, and then
Mm-hmm.
came back to the States, and life is night and day, like from what it was before. Totally different.
Wow. Thank you
Totally
for
different.
sharing that. That's amazing. And I love that you recognized it, right? Like that's step one, right? Is I think so many people can relate to that too, because I think that so many people just put so much into other people and then their cup is empty and they're
Yeah.
like, how do I get out of this? Like, how do I,
Girl,
you
my
know?
cup was empty and broken. Okay.
Yeah.
Empty and broken. And I didn't realize it. I had a wake up call. It
Mm.
definitely didn't come from me. I was just spinning and going and doing and doing. And I ended up in a relationship that
Hmm.
was horrible.
Okay.
And the blessing of that relationship is he forced me to see myself. And I was like, oh my
Mm.
God, I created this. All of these issues that exist, I created. Okay. If I can create it, then if I can own that I am the reason I chose this person, I chose to make these decisions that weren't in my best interest, that impacted all of these people that I love, I can make other choices. So let me incrementally create a new vision for myself and then make other choices. And Janae, once I started making those other choices, I got a DM from a guy who was a basketball coach. And he told me he was coaching a team in Manizales, Colombia, and said that they were looking for people to train. Now, I had coached and trained over 500 kids.
Yeah.
And I went to Manizales, Colombia, did this basketball clinic for these baby girls who were speaking Spanish and these young women. I didn't even speak Spanish at the
Uh,
time.
Oh
And
wow.
I went there, I did this basketball clinic. He translated everything. And I have friends who lived in a city called Medellin, went back to Medellin, told them about the camp, and they were all living there. And I was like, I'm going to come here and live too.
Love.
And I lived there for 2.5 years. Completely transformed my life. But basketball opened the door. So even on like your worst day, there is something that you do well that somebody else values. There is
Yes.
something that you can give to someone else that can open up an opportunity that you can't even imagine. So if you are lacking confidence, figure out who you can serve. Figure out what gift you already have
Yes. Love
that you
that.
can, maybe you can tutor someone, maybe you can teach them music, teach them something that you know, and you will be surprised at the way your heart and mind open up.
Yeah, that's so powerful. And it fulfilling too, right? Because like
Yes.
anyone that you can help, I find it feels so freaking good no matter what it is. Like even if it's in the grocery store and I'm 5'8", so I'm like I'm a fairly
You're up
tall
here.
woman.
Mhm.
And so even if it's something as small as this little old woman asked me, "Hey, do you mind getting that on the top shelf?" I'm like, "Absolutely." Get over, have a nice little
Exactly.
convo. That shit makes you feel good, right? It
It does.
does.
It does.
And
So
that's a
sometimes,
simple, but
uh, but it's powerful, Janae.
it
I can
is.
remember when I played college ball and we would have to run and run and run and run, and you're just so dog tired.
Mm,
When you go over to your teammate and give her a high five, if you can step outside of yourself in your worst
yes.
moments and do something for someone else, the energy
Mm-hmm.
that you give them, that they give back, will be the spark that you need. It moves
Yes.
us forward when we're able to do things for others and volunteer and help and support.
Yeah, that's so powerful. And I love that you mentioned that because you just reminded me of something too, is when, say, if you're going through it, you're having a rough day, rough whatever, and you text a friend, maybe you haven't talked
Mhm.
to in a while, and you're just like, "Hey, so and so, I'm thinking of you. I love you. I hope you're doing well." Just like a nice little text message. And try to do it with someone maybe you haven't talked to in a little bit. That one text conversation can make your entire day, just like letting someone else know that you're thinking about them and just like reconnecting. Because I find that sometimes that can just move the mood like from bad to like, okay, I'm connecting with a friend that I haven't talked to in a little bit. I'm gonna put the focus on having this nice conversation. It can just get you out of that funk sometimes. So that's always a really good thing to do too.
It's true. It's so true because we all have those people that we think about, and it's like, oh yeah, I hope they're doing okay. And then you
Right.
just go on. But if
And
you
then you
slow down
forget.
enough,
Yeah.
just to say, hey, was thinking about you, it
Yeah.
does make a difference.
It
I know I love
does.
when I get those.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if you're listening to this and you're having a rough time, go reach out
Text
to
me.
someone.
Text
Yeah.
me. No, my number is. No, I'm joking.
You're like, no, actually, please don't. Oh
Text
my
someone you
gosh.
know, like someone you know.
Right.
Or Chat
Someone, yeah.
GPT. I know, okay, this may sound crazy,
Girl,
but
I
Chat
love
GPT
that
gives good
shit.
advice. I'm not even gonna lie.
I
I
love that
had some
shit.
situations I was trying to decide what to do, and I was like, I don't know if I should go here or go there. And
Oh,
it was like, I'm so glad that you're thinking about this. Here's a way
wow.
to think through this. And they ask great prompting questions. So if there's
It's
no one that you
amazing.
feel you can call, we
Yes.
have AI to help us think through some.
Yes. I love that. I mean, ChatGPT, it really is powerful. And I've been using it for more things. And it is a freaking powerful tool.
It
And
is.
it and they say that you should tell it thank you too. Did you know that?
No, really. I never
It's
said thank
kind of
you.
a weird thing to think about, but supposedly like it will know if you're being nice to it or not. And I don't know if it would like give you better answers if you're nice to it, but I was like, that's creepy a little bit, but I'm gonna say thank you.
Do you have like Alexa, the
I
voice ones?
I don't have
Me
that.
either. I feel like
Yeah.
that's, I'm not there yet. I feel like that's a little too far.
Yeah.
So I'll be
That's
talking back
totally
to you.
fair. Oh my gosh, I could talk to you forever. Is there anything we missed on or like last like conversation before we get into our game? Last thoughts.
My final thoughts is please share your voice, like share your experience, share your
Yes.
expertise. I whether it's a podcast, whether it's writing a book, whether it's talking to a group, getting on a stage, you never
Mm,
know how the words that you're going to say are going to impact someone else. My first book, I wrote 13 years ago,
amazing.
came out 13 years ago, and we are still talking about it. And when
Oh,
I did it 13 years ago, I couldn't have fathomed 13 years in the future. It wasn't even on my radar. I thought
right.
that the thing I was creating was for that moment. So whatever you want to create, just go create it. You have no
Mm,
idea how it's going to land.
love. That is beautifully said. Beautifully said. Okay, you ready? You ready
Thank
for
you.
the game?
Yes.
Okay.
I love a
So,
game now.
girl, think this game is fun. This or that. Okay, so the first one is, are you an early riser or night owl?
Early riser. I have to fight to stay up late. Early riser.
Love it. Love it. Um, do you prefer to dine in or get takeout and eat it at home?
Dine in. Well,
Dine
it's
in.
hot. Yeah, I gotta keep it
That's true. I know. I feel like, yeah, it depends on the type of food too. Like takeout, it can be really tough. And then you get home and you're like,
warm.
this is cold.
Yes.
Never hits the same too. I swear,
No.
like the presentation of the food is like,
Hmm.
would you rather with a traveling girly, would you rather do like a beach vacation or like a mountain retreat?
To the mountains. Take me
Ooh,
to the mountains. Love the
love
mountains.
it. Love that. This one is an interesting one. Would you rather give up all technology or give up TV, movies, and books?
So, okay, for clarification, I can't watch movies on my technology. Is that what you mean? Like on my computer, I couldn't.
Correct. Yeah, you could not watch
Where, okay,
any technology. Yeah.
where can I watch basketball? Because I can't do it without basketball. So, which is that option one gives me basketball, or
Yes, I
can
think
I
the
stream?
technology would. Yep.
Okay, whichever one gives me basketball, I want that
You're
one.
like, I need the basketball. That is top priority. Love it. Do you prefer online shopping or in-person shopping?
Neither. I hate shopping. Oh my God.
Really?
Yes. So I guess in person, I never look online for anything.
Okay. You like to
Yeah,
go in
I
and
just wish someone would do it for me. God. But that's a whole,
I love shopping. I want to be,
really,
yeah, I literally would love, like, if someone were to be like, I want these outfits, here is my, budget, go find me stuff, I'd be like, sign me up. I would love it. Ah.
I have this event this weekend and I'm like, what am I gonna wear? Oh my God, I hate
Oh,
it. What?
or I also like doing, my girlfriends will snap photos of like the few outfits and they're like, which one? Love that. I love doing
Really?
that shit. So fun.
Wow.
So
I
fun.
love people like you. That's incredible. Because you're the one, I have a group of friends who I was in the group chat with last night. Like, do I wear this or do I wear that? Oh my God. Y'all are
Yeah.
the best. Thank you for the service you provide
Oh, you're so
to
sweet.
friends.
I love that. Okay, the next one is, would you rather own a private jet or own a yacht?
Private jet, easier to get
Mm,
around. The yacht, like you can't take it from
you
one
can only
ocean
go
to the
so
next.
long.
We'll take the
Right.
private jet to someone's yacht.
Oh, now we're talking. Now we're talking. I like that. Would you rather be a kid forever or be an adult forever?
Adult.
Adult.
Oh, hold on.
Be
Wait.
like,
Yeah, but a kid, you have to like answer to people. But all you do is play and they feed you. A kid in the right family. Because a
oh,
kid without depends
that's
on the
that
depends on the
is
a
good. Yeah.
kid. No, let me stop. Yeah. I was gonna say a kid in the family with a jet and the yacht. No. No, but I love my family. We didn't have jets and yachts. So
Girl, you're killing it. I love it. Okay. Would you rather create a new holiday or create a new language?
holiday. Holiday.
What would
Yeah,
it
living in
be?
Colombia, I experienced so many holidays I didn't know existed.
Ooh,
I would totally do holidays.
okay. That's cool. That's really neat. City or small town?
City, city
City.
girl.
City
Yeah.
girl. Mm-hmm.
But not a
Love.
city girl. No, no, I'm not a city girl like that. But I'm a girl from the city. A city, a city girl has a different connotation.
That's fair. That's fair. Um, Personal chef or personal housekeeper?
Chef, Chef.
Chef.
Yes.
Love. Wouldn't that be so nice? Like, I want this meal. Can you please make it for me right now? And they're like, yeah, got it. What a dream.
Yep.
What a dream. The next one is,
Yeah.
would you rather have a movie night at home or in the theater?
Theater.
Theater.
Yeah, theater is cool. The
The
screen at
vibe.
home isn't quite that big.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And I always love to end with this one. Sunrise or sunset?
Sunset.
Sunset.
I'll go with sunset. Yeah.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh, this was amazing. I absolutely loved our conversation.
Thank you.
Please let everyone know where they can connect with you, find everything you got going on.
You can find me at AngelaRLewis.com. AngelaRLewis.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, Angela R. Lewis. And if you want to contact me, I'm on Instagram also at the Angela R. Lewis on Instagram. So, yep, would love to reach out and connect.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. This was such a pleasure having you on my podcast.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me. I've really enjoyed this conversation, Janae.